chemistry and you are watching Chem Science.
In this video, we will see the analysis of weightage marks of each topics of IGCSE Chemistry Paper 4, that is subjective paper for extended syllabus. Now this is what we are going to watch in this video, that is analysis, and then we will see what are the important topics to be covered for the preparation of this paper 4 and how to do the last moment preparations, that is the revision points. Here are the list of few topics, not few, all topics of paper 4, and here you can see that in each and every column I'll be giving you that what weightage of marks each of these topics carried in each of these papers. So let's start with the topics first. Here I have written the topics in short, but let me explain. SOM is states of matter. The next is AEC, atoms, elements and compounds. This is what do you mean by AEC. Now stoichiometry, reactions, this is chemical energetics, electrolysis, this is acid, bases and salts, equilibrium, rate of reaction, periodic table, metals, this is chemistry of environment. Now chemistry of environment, you must be knowing that covers almost pollution, air, water. And this is chemical analysis. Chemical analysis. This is the topics which I have listed according to the new syllabus of 2023 to 25. And the last topic is organic chemistry. Now I have summarized the last two chapters of organic chemistry and petroleum together because petroleum and polymers is also considered to be the part of organic chemistry itself. So I have summarized both the topics here in the last organic chemistry. Now on the top in the heading you can see that I have summarized the papers of last 5 years. So here it is summer 21, winter 21, summer 20, winter 20. So here till summer 17 and winter 17. So I've summarized the summer and winter papers of all the last 5 years. Now let's start with the analysis that each of these topics carried how many marks in each year paper, and at the end we will summarize that what are the topics we should consider more while preparing for paper 4. So starting with the first topic, that is states of matter, here you can see that from summer 21 to winter 17 I have started with a descending order, that is 21 first. We can see that in few of the years only there were some questions related to states of matter, and it was only winter 21 where the maximum weightage of 8 marks was asked from this topic, and last winter 17 with 6 marks. Otherwise the topic states of matter is not given too much of importance in paper 4. The next topic is atoms, elements and compounds, and you can see that every year a good number of marks were covered from this topic. So here this is a big and important topic where we can see that every year 13, 14, 16, 12, 19, summer 18, 19 marks, summer 17, 18 marks questions were asked from this topic. So you can consider this topic as very important topic. At the end of the video, I'll also show you that from this chapter, what are the subtopics you should give importance to cover good marks from all this. Next topic is stoichiometry, that is you can say that mole concept chapter. Mole concept chapter, here you can see that again every year some or the other questions are also asked, and that is on an average you can say 7 to 8 marks questions were asked from this topic. Here also we will discuss the important topics. Let's go ahead with the next subtopic, that is reactions. In reactions only 2 papers, that is winter 21 and winter 20, the questions were not asked, otherwise good number of marks were covered from this topic. Now in the end I'll also show you reactions covers what type of subtopics. Next is chemical energetics. Now chemical energetics, okay, few of the years they were not asked, but then some marks questions were asked most of the time. In electrolysis, we can see that it is not very final that every year it is asked, because there are two such papers, winter 21 and winter 18, where no question from electrolysis were asked. But we can't rely like that, because in summer 21 12 marks and winter 19 16 marks and winter 17 14 marks questions were asked, and that is a big number. So we can't ignore the chapter electrolysis. So in electrolysis also we will see the subtopics covered at the end of this video. Next topic is acid, bases and salts. Here also again we can see that most of the time the questions are asked from this topic. Next, equilibrium. Equilibrium again is a very important topic, because it is covered in almost all the papers with some marks. On an average, you can say 7 to 8 marks questions are asked every year. Rate of reaction, again an important topic, but not finalized whether every year the question will be asked or not. But at times it happens that if they ask for a big number of marks. Here we can see 14 marks, 10 marks. If not asked, here you can see 0 marks were given to this topic. So again, a topic important but cannot be ignored even though not asked sometimes. Next is periodic table. Periodic table, again some marks, 6, 7 or 8 marks questions are asked. Metals, again we can see the analysis here. Next is chemistry of environment. Chemistry of environment, again we can see we can't rely that every year it is asked, but they may ask any number of question marks from this topic. Next is chemical analysis, and here we can see that even though the questions are asked, but the weightage of marks is not too much. Now the next is organic chemistry. This includes polymers, but here we can see that good number of marks weightage is given to this topic every year. Not even a single year is without organic chemistry. So very important topic. Now let's see the total marks. This is the total marks questions asked in the last 5 years. So you can say that the total of 10 papers I have summarized here, because each year I have taken summer and winter sessions both. So here you can see that states of matter 19 marks, atoms, elements and compounds 113 marks, a good number, a good weightage you can say. Stoichiometry 47, reactions 53, chemical energetics 30, electrolysis 70. Though there were 2 sessions where electrolysis questions were not asked, but still the total has gone higher than the reactions and stoichiometry. Acids, base and salts 85, equilibrium 58, rate of reaction, periodic table we can summarize, but then the highest number of marks, the weightage is given to organic chemistry. So we can understand that organic chemistry is a very important topic and need to be covered and studied very thoroughly. Now let's see what are the important subtopics for each of these chapters or topics. For states of matter, we can just say that the interconversions of matter is the only topic important, and very rarely they have asked a question about diffusion, but yes, at times it was asked. Atoms, elements and compound, very important topic. Here I will tell you that the electronic structure, or you can say electronic configuration, is very important. Other than that, we should also know the electronic configuration of ions and atoms both. Along with that, isotopes is also an important topic here, and most important topic which I haven't mentioned here is bonding. Bonding is the topic which is asked every year. So underline, highlight bonding, and in bonding again, dot and cross diagrams of the bonding structures is very important, because every year this is asked. dot and cross diagrams of either ionic or covalent compounds with the properties is very important topic. Again, I'm highlighting dot and cross diagrams of ionic and covalent bonding and their properties is very important because it is asked every year. Stoichiometry, every year some questions asked, rarely it is ignored, but you can see that calculations of moles, that is the formula, concentration formula and empirical formula, that is a very important subtopics of the topic stoichiometry. Now reactions includes a what? Types of reactions, that is you can say the decomposition reaction or displacement reaction or some other types of reactions. So types of reactions important. After that, if some reaction information is given, how to make the symbolic reaction or ionic reaction of this information, and from that balancing the reaction, that is these subtopics you should know from the reactions. Next is chemical energetics. Now I have observed that though very few marks is asked from this topic, but most of the sessions had some questions, and only this topic is very small, which includes only the energy level diagrams, or you can say energy profile diagrams of exothermic and endothermic reactions, and other than that the bond energy calculation, that is from the bond energy calculation we can make out whether the reaction is exothermic or endothermic. These are the only two topics which is covered in chemical energetics, but though only few marks question asked, but it is asked in paper 4 and at times it is asked in paper 2 extended MCQ paper also. So it's an important topic. The weightage is less, but counting on few marks also is very important to get good grades. Now electrolysis of aqueous and molten compounds, especially aqueous NaCl and aqueous copper sulfate, electroplating, copper sulfate and electroplating. These are the important subtopics to be covered in electrolysis. Yes, the diagram of electrolytic cell, is also important because at times it gives you an incomplete diagram to complete it. So that is also very important. Acid, bases and salts, the next topic. Here salt preparation methods, salt preparation steps, I would say, that is very important, and some acid base reactions we should understand. Acid base reactions, these are the important topics we need to understand in acid, bases and salt. I'll say that salt preparation methods are asked many a times in few session papers, so don't ignore this because it's very important. Equilibrium, there are fixed number of questions which is asked that changing the factors affects the equilibrium in what way? Changing the factors and effect on equilibrium, that is the topics questions asked. Though there are some fixed questions, fixed answers, but it can be easily covered. So I would say that equilibrium, the less wastage but easy to cover. Rate of reaction, again rate of reaction we should understand what are the factors that affect the rate. That is the only topic, factors affecting the rate, and also graphical analysis of the rate, of reaction, that also should be known because at times a graph is given and from that the question is asked. In periodic table, now we should understand that most of the time the trends of few groups like group 1 or group 7 is asked, and some reactions related to the trends or the elements of these groups is asked. So in periodic table, these are the only few points which we need to cover. Now metals. In metals, most of the time extraction is asked, though I have seen that in last 2-3 years even the extraction is not asked, but I won't say we can ignore it, because if they ask, they cover a big weightage. So what I suggest is just remember the reactions of extraction of iron, reactions of extraction of iron, Fe, and aluminium extraction. Now aluminium extraction is partially covered in electrolysis also. So these are the few topics you need to understand, and the uses of a few metals. That is the only thing we need to know. Yes, at times they ask about the rusting also, but I don't think we need to cover it specially. We just have some general knowledge about rusting of iron and its prevention. That will just do. Nothing more is needed. Now chemistry of environment, that includes air, its pollution, the factors and the prevention of pollution, and water. These are the subtopics which are covered. Now in this, if we just know the pollutants and the effect of pollution and the preventions, and water is just test of water and purification method. These are the only few topics which is covered in chemistry of environment, and if that's done, even less weightage can be covered to get good grades. Next is chemical analysis. Chemical analysis, here we need to know the tests of cations, anions, and gases, and some separating techniques like chromatography, separating techniques, I would say separating techniques like distillation and chromatography and fractional distillation. Such separating techniques, if we know, then chemical analysis is the topic that covers only these few subtopics. Now organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is very, very important, where I would say that the structure of simple homologous series compounds, the structure of the compounds should be known. I would say that don't ignore esters. Esters is very, very important. The formation of esters, formation and structure of esters, naming of esters, that is very, very important, because I've observed that most of the session papers had asked about esters. So esters, formation and the structure. Polymer is also covered in this, but I had seen that polymerization is covered only for few marks, maybe some 4 or 5 marks, and not more than that marks questions are asked from the polymers. So these are the important topics for all these main important topics which we should consider if we want to get good grades for paper 4 extended subjective paper. Now let's see that what are the must do topics, that is what are the most important topics or the things we should cover before writing paper 4. Must do is definitions of all the topics, that is the syllabus throughout IGCSE. Next is formulas of stoichiometry, that is simple formulas of moles, that will also do. And these are, suppose, more formulas of, say, how to calculate the relative isotopic mass. I would say that the calculation of AR or calculation of rate from the graph, etc. So few formulas which are very simple can be easily learned and remembered. Next is there are few fixed answers which we should learn without fail. For example, how changing a factor affects the equilibrium reaction, the reactions and functional groups of few organic compounds. You can see the mind maps also. You can make the mind maps of each of the homologous series and its reactions. Dot and cross diagrams of few compounds of ionic and covalent compounds, And this I had mentioned in my earlier part of the video also, that dot and cross diagram is a must do topic because every year it is asked. Next is make the mind maps of all the organic reactions and learn them. Making mind map is very easier and makes easy for you to understand it if it is asked indirect way in some other form. So mind map is very important. If you prepare it before going for paper 4, it's going to help you a lot. So this is how you're going to prepare for paper 4 to achieve very good grades, and I've given you all the important topics and subtopics to be covered for this paper 4 subjective extended paper.